today we're starting a new league using the Super Mega Baseball 4 standard teams and standard players. I'm going to customize the settings, but we are going to start with a shuffle draft. We're going to do a 16-game season. I know you can do like a 200-game season, 162. We'll save that for another day, another time. We're going to do a 16-game season. 9 innings, perfect. I like to do second extra inning for the auto runner because if you get a slugfest, starting with a runner on and extra is a little bit unfair towards the pitchers, in my opinion. We're going to have 8 playoff teams, 5-game playoff series, start with a shuffle draft. And for teams, I was thinking somebody I don't play that much, really. Overdogs, maybe some of these other ones, but the Jacks, I think, is the obvious choice for me, at least. I don't play a lot of the Jacks, so let's get started. Sack to Song. Obviously, one of the best players in the league, A-plus first baseman. But also around here, you got a bunch of other interesting players. For example, top row, I mean, not that interesting. But you got some starting pitchers. You got Nick Dijes, young guy, same as Sakta. I think I like Sakta better, though. Jumps, also another young hitter. Really good contact. Can't really play defense. You got Cooper, another one of those young starting pitchers. You got Stewart, one of my favorite players. But none of these options are really that interesting. It really ended up being a debate between Nick Dijes, Noah Kaiser, Yolanda Cooper, and Sakta Song. Jeb kind of got cast out because of his horrible defense. And I decided to go with Cooper in the end. Cooper's younger than both Kaiser and Dijes. I like Cooper's pitch mix better than Kaiser, and Kaiser's injury prone. So you'd be concerned over him staying healthy. And Song, well, he is really good. $17.8 million is a hell of a lot of money to spend on one player. Cooper is almost half that. So we're going to go with Cooper here and move on to pick number 2. We're going to go Cooper. Might have been a mistake, but whatever, man. Look at all these S tiers getting taken. Wow. For the second pick, we have 2 choices here. We got Marsha Brown and Norm Phenomeno. I think of them somewhat as Mookie Betts for Marsha Brown and a still impressive but not alien extraterrestrial level Shohei Ohtani and Norm Phenomeno. It's basically a decision of whether you value the two-way or the really good offense. And for me, this is a pretty obvious pick. Norm Phenomeno does everything well, can play good defense in the infield, better than Marsha Brown can in the outfield. None of the other players here look really that much better than Norm, or comparable at all, in fact. So Norm is an easy pick here, and we move on to the third round. That over Phenomeno right now? We're going Phenomeno. Third round, top row, other than Razzie, isn't looking that great. A lot of really old players in here. JYS is one of them. Anita Bean, Guns Jackman. The only really young guy is Trunk, but he's a choker, and we don't really like that. Guns, also don't really like him because he's a lot of money for a player that pretty much can't play any defense whatsoever. You could pick a shortstop and move him to second base, but that defense gets even worse. So, in my opinion, the only player offering good value here is Razzie. Not an amazing center fielder. Still a solid center fielder. Good power. Good glove. Not great arm, but could be a leadoff hitter. Hit middle lineup. Provide some pop, some insurance behind who'd hope are you going to be your big boppers in the order. I don't know. This team is going to look weird at the end. Alright, fourth pick. Boozle Doozy Shine. Jovan Bambino, Kitty Kaufman, Sancho Silvio, Meow Bubkins, one of my favorite players. I mean, there are a lot of good options here. Kitty, I believe, loved for franchise because she's so young and already pretty darn good, I'd say, for a second baseman. But for me, So there weren't a ton of young guys other than Kitty, and I needed some power in my lineup. This is going to be a debate between Boozle Doozy Shine and Jovan Bambino. And I ended up going with Jovan Bambino just because he's faster, plays much better defense than Boozle, and it is totally fine with me that he is only at 60 contact compared to Boozle's near 100. We fill that. I think we're going to go Bambino. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Alright, 5th pick loads in, and at first glance, Carlton Starr is easily the best out of all of these guys. Candela can compare, but I think Starr is much more valuable as a shortstop versus Candela as a second baseman. Despite their mostly similar stats, the rest of these guys really can't compare. There's Doozy Shine, he just got picked. Pick 6, Mashed Taters. I mean, with a name like that, you kind of can't go wrong picking him. We're trying to save second base or third base for Norm Phenomeno, two-way player on the infield. Good fielding. So, Gutterson and Torrens, I kind of wanted to stay away from them and pick one of these other positions first. And Braun, poor guy, stuck with choker. So, Mashed Taters is going to be the pick here for that power bat. Taters at first is a good pick there. Knox Oxensoxen. I don't really like him that much, mainly because he can't throw out a lot of runners and he has no pop whatsoever. Torque I like, the power bat again. We need power. I love power bats. Bobbitt, not really that great of an option. These pitchers, not looking too great. Definitely not picking a C at this range. Elaine Munstar, young, throws gas. Chasey Kim also throws gas. Not young, though, so this was between Munstar and Torque, both young players. Both with some power fastball versus power hitter. Munstar, we need another good reliever. We've already got a big bopper at first base. We can fill that in later. We're going Munstar here. And that gets us over the edge for the yellow traits. Okay, 8th pick. Let's see what we got. Herbert Hackman stands out because I love Herbert Hackman. Pedro Nixon isn't really that great of a catcher. Neither is Yacker Asherbaum, really a great second baseman other than that pop, which is really good, but he's at a position we're trying to save for Norm. Same is Hackman, though, so this really came down to what do I think is better? And it ended up being that the some odd millions worth of money I'd be saving by picking Hackman was just more valuable than spending a little bit money to get a little bit more power with Yacker. So Herbert is coming on to the squad. And we're going to play Phenomeno at second base. Skip here to the 9th pick. Towers, Mabetz, LaJoy. Not looking really that standout in terms of arms. Smoke, not really the type of catcher I like. She's not really either a good thrower or a good hitter, so not a very valuable catcher. Werner Bergenberg here, really young, already has elite slider, good velo and accuracy combo there. Kind of stood out more than the rest of these bottom row guys, and over the top row starting pitchers, a lot less money for perceived higher future value. Yeah, we want to build blue. Pick number 10. Swirly is good. Annabella is good. Raul is good. Some of these other guys, maybe Whiff, you could say. Maybe make a case for Preston or Volt, even though he's really old. But out of these guys, the one who standed out and the one who is completing my outfield in this case is young man Stallion Johnson. He's fast. Not really a great defender, but you can fix that through player development. And his bat, already pretty solid. With some development, he could turn into a real threat in the heart of our lineup for years to come. Okay, pick number 11. Let's check the roster. We're saving second base for Norm Phenomeno. And we've got a full outfield. Pitching staff full of young pitchers, and our bullpen is not looking too bad with some high leverage arms. So for pick 11, we could go with a catcher, starting pitcher. Second base we're trying to save, and I don't really like Jerry Ronner at all. So it ended up being a really tough choice. All these picks sucked in my opinion. Tough is not going to stay here very long. I don't like the fact that he's slower than a stack of bricks. So we ended up, in the end, settling on picking Mark Harbormouth and sucking it up, mainly because Jerry Ronner is more money and has Meltdown, which is not a great combo for a middle to end of the rotation starting pitcher. Harbormouth. I wanted like a B pitcher now. With the pick of Harbormouth, we're looking at a team with a lot more player development funds because we don't really have that many A-rated players other than Norm, Carlton, and Joven, especially in the pitching staff. So, knowing that we have a lot of development money, we can afford to take some better players and avoid picking BB Takabasai right now. Out of these guys, Stu Burko, not looking too bad at first, but we already have Mash there. Steve Monstour could be a good catcher even though he can't really throw. He does provide some solid offense. Freddie Knox, we're trying to save second base. Bottom row pitchers, not really worth picking right now. So that leaves Clutch, who I would take Steve over him. Stu, Mash is already at first. And Churl Dangerfield, who's young, but we already have a full outfield. That leaves Steve, and we're picking him. Pick number 13. And I kind of hate all of these guys. Tish is pretty much another Churl Dangerfield clone, except with a bit more power. Wally Bacon, again with the second base thing, that goes for Dion as well. The relievers, not really looking that great, but Ricky McFarland could be a solid arm, late inning lefty specialist to come out of the bullpen. And Hiro Masano has choker, so no matter how much I like him, we're picking Ricky. We're going to go, even though he's more expensive, we're going to go Ricky McFarland. Pick number 14, and Amilo could be a really, really good player. Shirley Indiere, potentially interesting. Latoya Lumberg. Cozy Spooner is absolutely horrible. I mean, a 4.33 in power, contact, and speed is not where it's at. Same with Lionel Martinez, who's potentially even a better catcher than him as being a first baseman. Back to the actual potential picks. Chili Little could be a really solid developmental outfielder. Lumberg, maybe filling out the rotation, but she doesn't really fit the chemistries we're trying to go for. We've got a lot of blue and orange, so we're going to try and go for those. And Chili Little fits with that orange chemistry makeup, so we're going to go with him and add another young player to the roster. Type, anyways. Take that. Cat Cul-de-sac, Alberto, yada yada. Alrighty. As we move on to pick 15 of 22, we got Stiffner. No, man runs. Simpleton, Paul, love Bubble Blastman, but he's not really applicable here. Stiffner, trying to save third base or second base, somewhere like that. A no is nasty, but crossed up with pretty much no accuracy whatsoever is an absolute hazard. The other one in consideration for this pick would be runs, because he's 20, really young, could be a really good piece for the future to bring on another young second baseman. Good fielding, potential to be a good bat here, and really help the roster. Simpleton's not really a case because he's just worse than a no. So if we were going to pick a reliever, it would have to be a no. But runs stands above the rest here, for sure. Pick 16, and I'm immediately regretting picking him because I like Rob Glover over him. The problem is we've already got a really good defensive shortstop in Carlton Starr rostered. So would Glover really have been a better pick? I'm not sure. But other than him, who I'm not going to pick because we just picked runs, Veterano's nothing special. Swolson stuck with RBI 0. Tantrum is horrible defensively and doesn't really stand out compared to any of these other guys. So it's down to Sweet and Ozone, and Ozone fits the young list of starting pitchers we have. Much more than Sweet does. Less money. I mean, technically worse, but I don't really like Candy Sweet at all. And Ozone has a funny screwball, so we're picking him and getting this rotation done. I mean, man, I wish I picked that other guy last round. It's annoying me. Pick number 17. Chukov could be a good backup catcher here, but I definitely think Joanna Heater is going to be the pick here. A little bit less money. A fireballing reliever to go with Munstar and Phenomeno out of the bullpen. I mean, she throws gas. Elite fastball. Could be an absolute weapon out there from the bullpen. Heater. So now we just need to gouge blue players. Pick 18. We're trying to go blue here. Maybe yellow or orange. Because we got a lot of blue on this page, especially in the pitching staff. Trying to go blue, but there's no blue players here, which is a bit sad. We might have to address that in free agency. But looking at these guys, no one really stands out. I mean, Perry Quaker's a good bat. We just don't have anywhere to play him. Nerdward, potentially. I mean, he fits the yellow, and with the elite curveball, would add more reason to switch out for some blue players in the future. Jermaine Raines, I don't really like him that much. Chase, it would be funny to pick him, but he's also 37. And I think Doug Nerdward might be more value than him. So, we're going to go with that. Let's pick Doug Nerdward. Doug Nerdward, welcome to the squad. Perez, Veterano, Capiato. Pick 18, they start limiting our options. But we still got some good players here, or at least players that could work. I mean, Dunder Eldorino, Gabelson could play some shortstop for us if we need him to. Storm, I don't know. More money for a marginally better player. We don't have a backup catcher yet, so Hankey could be an interesting option here. Alba, we're definitely not picking Baker, that's for sure. So it really came down to, we need utility, and Gabelson can play infield pretty much whenever we need him to, so we're going to go with that. Yeah. Morse Heimlich. Pick number 20. No one really stands out, but we do need a backup catcher to fill in our bench, and Hefner Hackett stands head and shoulders above Lars Dadcleef as a backup catcher. He isn't really that good. Stuck with first pitch prayer. He's a little bit more than Lars, but we already have a ton of surplus if you look in the bottom left corner. $30.5 million is our projected surplus. So, spending a little bit more money to get a potentially useful backup catcher in Hackett can't really hurt the roster. Let's keep it rolling. Hefner Hackett. Welcome to the roster, buddy. Pick number 21 here. We're not picking a starting pitcher, so Bellamy at ball is immediately off the table. Turbo Miles, fast. Garcia, solid bat. Noggin's not really appealing to me. That leaves Rags. She can play anywhere. Tier 2 utility will mean that her defense sticks pretty much any part of the field, and that defense is great. And last pick, maybe make it easier to grind blue or orange here in the future. I mean, we already got tier 3 yellow trait by picking Rags, so none of these players can really hurt our roster, but out of these 4, Bad Hot Brown seems like the most useful bat off the bench with that high contact and potential to go yard. He would never have to play defense, though, because of Rags and Gobelson, so it doesn't even matter about his trait. So we're just going to pick him and move on to some gameplay. Okay, there's the team. Okay, what are we thinking? Tell me how you think I did with the draft. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And also, stick around, because we're going to be starting our first game with this team next video.